If you're thinking about saving for a down payment and closing costs on a home, but don't know where to start, here are a few tips for you. First, I recommend that you open a high yield savings account. What's that? Local banks will often give you a pretty low savings rate, but if you go to an online only bank, they offer significantly more. I bank with Ally Bank. I do have a couple of local accounts, but most of my money is at Ally. Here's why. Their current savings rate is 3.3%. One of my local banks is currently only offering 0.15%. That means that Ally Bank is offering 22 times more than what the local bank is giving me for the same thing. It's a basic savings account. You can imagine that makes a big difference when you're saving up for a down payment or really anything. My next tip would be to set up an automatic transfer to that high yield savings account from whatever account you get paid at. Whether it's $5 a week or if you're putting $100 a month or something in between, whatever works for you. Start somewhere because even if it's small, it's gonna add up. Tip number 3 is tax refunds. If you are gonna get a refund from the IRS, you should have the IRS direct deposit that refund into this new high yield savings account. That way you're not spending it on shopping or things that you don't want to spend your money on while you're trying to save up. Tip number 4 is to budget. You're just going to look at what you've been spending and see where you can cut costs so that you can increase your savings. For example, a lot of us spend a lot of money on food, especially restaurant food. If you're spending $100 on takeout and restaurants every week, that's over $5,000 a year that you could be putting in your pocket to save for a down payment. I'm not saying you have to cut those costs altogether, but if you're using restaurants as an example, maybe you only go out to eat once a month instead of once a week. Again, it makes a big difference after 1 year's time. You'd be surprised at how much money you've been able to save. My last tip might be my most important tip. If you're working on a financial goal, but you don't know what the goal is, it's kind of difficult, right? I want you to connect with a lender and fill out a mortgage application. Even if you're not ready right now to buy a home, the lender is going to be able to look at your situation, your finances, your credit score, your assets that you have to bring towards closing, and the price range that you're looking in. With all of these in mind, a lender can give you that dollar amount. It's going to be an estimate, but if they're saying it's $20,000, then you know you want to reach towards $20,000. You also might be surprised by how little you actually need because there are so many programs out there, whether you qualify for a 0% down loan or a first-time homebuyer grant program, or they recommend that you use seller concessions if you can, which I have another video for if you don't know what that is. Saving for a down payment and closing costs is a pretty serious task, but don't let it scare you. Don't get discouraged if it takes you more than a year or 2 years. As long as you're working towards it, eventually you are going to get there. I hope this video has been helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you're working towards saving for a down payment yourself. If you have any questions or you just want to chat about the home buying process, let me know.